do just 15 minutes of intro to body awareness and body maintenance. So we'll start lying down. Take a deep breath in and a big breath out. Starting with noticing what's going on with our pelvis. The pubic bone and the hip bones are roughly flat like the floor. And as we exhale, we'll pull the hip bones down, flatten our lower back to the floor. And as we inhale, we'll roll it the other way. Pubic bone goes down, hip bones go up, and there's some space underneath our lower back now. Inhale, exhale. Inhale to arch, exhale to flatten. Two more. Inhaling to arch, let the ribs stay relaxed. Exhale to flatten. Last one. Pausing in the middle, back with those hip bone and pubic bone flat again. We'll leave that there, and now we'll move just the muscles. Deep breath in. Exhaling, pull the belly in as deeply as you can, like you were creating suction or zipping up a tight pair of pants. But don't move the bones at all this time. So we're staying in a neutral spine, inhaling, and exhaling to pull the belly in very actively. Now we're using the transverse abdominis, we're using our deep belly muscles to do the work. We're not using our legs, we're not using our bones, we're just practicing engaging that deep transverse as much as we can. If you want to think about where this is, it's basically right between those two hip bones and maybe just below the belly button. There's sort of a strip there. The transverse is the whole thing, but really think about pulling those two frontal hip bones towards each other. They don't actually move, but the muscles you would use to make those bones move together are the ones you're looking for here. Deep breath in to relax it, soften the belly. And then exhale, really deeply scoop the abdominals as if you could pull those hip bones towards each other. Two more like that. Lovely. Last one, deep breath in, relax the belly on your in-breath. And exhale to scoop. Good. Release it all. Give your hips a little wiggle in case you created any tension there that we don't want. And then stretch your arms up towards your ceiling. Once there, on your inhale, reach your fingers a little more to the ceiling. The shoulder blades will come apart. And then as we exhale, the shoulder blades sink back together and towards the floor. The arms stay straight-ish the whole time. Inhale to reach. Exhale to sink. Now the hands stay the same distance apart. So as you reach, try not to let the hands come together or separate, as if you were holding a large beach ball between your hands. And the size of that doesn't change. We just lift the beach ball a little more to the ceiling, and then we sink the beach ball down towards the floor. When your shoulder blades go down to the floor, really think that you're trying to get them also down towards your pelvis. So sometimes as we sink the shoulders down, they kind of want to creep up towards our ears. We just want to counter that by pulling the shoulder blades back down. Last one, reach, inhale, and exhale to sink the shoulder blades back down. Lovely. Now we'll hold them there, keep the shoulder blades pinned to the ground, And on your inhalation, reach the arms up and over as if to touch the floor behind you. Exhale back to the ceiling. Keep the shoulder blades pinned to the floor and down. Try to relax your muscles as you go. Shoulder blades are down, but the neck isn't tightening. We're trying to create this movement from deep in the socket of the shoulder. So the shoulder blades are going to be staying down. I'll just do this with one arm for a moment. The shoulder blades are going to be really drawing down the back and staying pinned there. As the arms go up and over, you could sort of feel like that shoulder blade continues to slide down and stays down. The arm will go where it goes. For many of us, it doesn't go to the floor. And then when we bring it back up, we want to be working from the same area, from these shoulder blades, and exhaling to sort of gently draw the shoulder back into place, and the hand and the arm just come along. I don't want this to feel like you're actually driving it from arm muscles. I want you to feel like you're driving this from shoulder and back muscles. Last one. All the way up and over. And then as we exhale, we think about doing this by pulling the shoulder blades down more, pulling your ribs down to the floor. Maybe you even notice your belly activate as you go. Lovely. Pause here, soften the joint of the elbows, soften the joint of the hands, and open out to the sides. Inhale. Exhale. Close them up. Now you can think about this like you're hugging a medium-sized tree, and as you're opening, imagine that you're now hugging like a giant ancient redwood. Keep the shoulder blades down, keep the arms sinking into their sockets. 2 more. Good. Next thing we're going to do is bring our arms into sort of a bigger range of motion by hugging our shoulders. Take 2 deep breaths into your middle back here. Deep breath in all the way, and exhale. Let the body sink and the elbows and the arms sink. 1 more like that. Deep breath in, widening the back ribs. Exhale to let those ribs relax. Soften the elbows down towards your chest. Now we'll keep the self-hug here, and we're going to gently roll the arms to the right. You might have to use your leg a little bit to sort of move there. And then we're going to roll back to the left. Now what's happening here is that we're just starting to open the mid-back and the upper back into a little twist. So the legs shouldn't be moving a ton, especially as you start to figure out the movement. But we're just rolling from right to left shoulder blade, opening into a gentle twist. Now, if you want to increase the twist a little bit and your shoulders are okay with it, you can clasp opposite elbows instead. Bring your elbows over and roll. Get a little bit of a shoulder stretch in this variation, which doesn't work for everybody, but it also allows the arms to help bring our body over from side to side. Good. Keeping the elbows, we're going to start, or switching to elbows if you weren't there, we're going to take these elbows into circles. So those circles can go up and overhead, down and around. And then we'll switch directions. You can still be rolling a little bit from right to left shoulder blades. So this movement can also be a gentle right to left in the ribs. Good. And then finishing there, we will do one more shoulder, chest, upper back movement here. Palms are facing in, the elbows and the shoulders are going to press down on the floor. And we'll be in this kind of robot arm position. We're going to push the elbows down, but also push the head of the shoulder down. And that's going to open up the chest. And once the chest is really well opened, we're going to push a little bit more and pick up the shoulder blades and bring them down our back. That's going to really lift the ribs and the middle back, maybe even up off of your floor. Keep them lifted. Push the elbows, push the shoulders, lift the chest, and create a gentle arch in the upper back. I can now get my fingers underneath kind of my bra line. So pushing there, lift, lift. Keep the chin lifted so you're not getting all jammy in here. And breathe. This is an upper back isometric exercise. It's also a chest opener. And just helps to activate all those upper back postural muscles that we spend a lot of our day going the opposite direction, rounding through the upper back. So push, lift, and breathe. Keep holding. We'll stay for 2 more deep, slow breaths. Good. As you exhale now, go ahead and sink your back down to the floor. I'm going to draw the right knee in towards our chest now, interlock over the top of the shin. Draw that leg in nice and close. We'll stretch the left leg out long. Let your elbows come just gently apart to keep the collarbones wide and your shoulder blades sinking down your back and on the floor. I like to keep my foot a little bit active here. And my floor leg is quite active as well. I'm pushing the heel away on my floor leg, pulling the toes back, and imagine actively pushing my thigh down to my floor. Now, for some of you, it won't work to have that leg straight because of various things in your hips or lower backs. If that's the case, we just keep it bent in. Otherwise, our hip bones are still level with our pubic bone, the pelvis is neutral, the ribs are neutral, and we're just working our hip range of motion here. And from here, we're going to release our left hand down, hold the right knee with the right hand, and take it in a few circles. Change the direction of those circles. Good. Change your interlock to be behind your thigh instead of in front of your shin, and kick your heel up towards the ceiling. Bend it again and kick it again. As you're doing this, imagine that you were kicking your heel through something heavy, like really thick, heavy molasses. So create a little bit of your own resistance. You can pull back with your hand a bit. The knee doesn't have to get straight, but we're trying to create not just movement through the knee, but activation through the muscles. So push the thigh into your hands a little bit. Kick the heel up quite actively, and notice that you actually feel your thigh muscles doing something. Last one here. Kick all the way to the ceiling wherever your leg may go, and hold there as we flex and point the foot. point, and draw back. Point, really try to curl the toes, create a bit of activity through your arch of your foot. You get a cramp, well, that's what the flexing of the toes and the pulling back of the foot is for. Last one. Good, and then a few circles with the ankles. Make sure you're working a slow circle, so you're trying to really get your whole range of motion. When we do fast circles, we tend to create something that looks more like a triangle or, some kind of other funny asymmetric shape. See if you can work for something that looks kind of circular. And then change the direction of the circle. Good. Bend the knee, set that foot down. We've got the whole series on the second side. Draw the left leg in towards you, hold over top of the shin, stretch your right leg straight out, pull the toes back, press the heel away from you, and push your thigh down on your straight leg. Unless you're working with a bent leg, also fine, then you're not pushing, you're just resting it in a bent position. Okay, we're drawing the knee in and breathing. Elbows are wide, shoulder blades are down, collarbones are wide. Feet are both a little bit active, and don't lose the activity on that straight leg. It's helping to keep your pelvis in place. Full deep breaths, relax your body, relax your face and jaw. Keep the left knee with the left hand, let your right hand come down and circle. We're trying to keep the pelvis more or less steady in this one. It'll move around a little bit, but we're trying not to just completely wobble with the leg. Just trying to move inside of that hip joint. Change the direction. Draw that knee in, interlock behind the thigh, and kick your leg to straight. Here we're going to straighten it wherever we go until we feel that nice long hamstring, and then bend again. Do that a couple of times. Again, really thinking that we're pushing the thigh into the hands, we're pushing the heel through heavy molasses, and we're creating our own internal resistance as we're doing this, so that it's not only a stretch, but also an actual activation of the muscles in the leg. Keep the toes pulling back, and really feel like as you press the leg away, you're pushing with the heel. Good. Last one here. On this next one, we'll stay in the straight position, hold in your stretch, and flex and point the foot. Again, really working when you point the toe to curl the toes a little bit, really lengthen through the front of the ankle, and maybe activate your arch a bit. You might even get a little cramp, and that's when we're pulling back and spreading the toes apart. Point and flex. Good. And then keeping somewhat of a pointed toe, we'll work through our ankle circles. One direction. Nice and slow. And the other direction. Good. Go ahead and place that foot back down on the floor. Bend both of your knees and have your feet about as wide apart as a yoga mat. If you have a yoga mat, then you'll know. If you don't, it's just a little wider than your hips. And we're going to let the knees rock gently right and left. You can move quite slowly through this, especially if you have a lot of sensitivity in your lower back or in your SI joints. If you don't have sensitivity in those areas, you can kind of rock like a windshield wiper and let this be pretty flowy. But I have a bit of sensitivity there, and I prefer this as a slower movement because of that. The other thing for those of you with SI jointy stuff, when you're doing this, one thing that can help to decrease the feeling of those SI joints maybe moving too much is to push your feet down into the floor. Almost like you were doing this slightly in a bridge pose or slightly with your hips lifted. They don't leave the floor, but that's the sort of push of the legs. And I find that that makes my pelvis feel a little bit more supported and sort of nestled in and doesn't let the SI joints get quite as finicky. Good. We're going to come back up to center. And from here, you can just let your knees rest in towards yourself. Rest your hands, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. We'll be ending here for today to keep the sessions short and doable. So you may rest here for however long you like in your own house. If you want to give your hands a little shake, maybe take your body into a nice long stretch. And whenever you are ready, you can roll off to one side. I like to roll over to my left for some reason. I'm supposed to roll to the right in yoga, I think. And come on up. Thanks for practicing. And